Blood of My Blood Episode 5 is about to change everything we thought we knew about this Outlander prequel. The trailer teases heartbreak, betrayal, forbidden love, and a wedding that is destined to end in chaos. And let me tell you, if you thought Episode 4 was emotional, you haven't seen anything yet. Episode 5 is the turning point of the season, where alliances are formed in secret, relationships are pushed to their breaking point, and two lovers come closer than ever, only to be ripped apart once again. From Ellen's impossible choice between duty and passion, to Julia's heartbreaking reality as she is torn between her past with Henry and her survival in this dangerous new world, Episode 5 is setting us up for one of the most dramatic storylines we have ever seen. So, let's break down everything the trailer has revealed and what it really means for Ellen, Julia, Henry, and Brian moving forward. The trailer for Blood of My Blood Episode 5 opens with a tone of urgency and inevitability, reminding us that Ellen's wedding is finally here. But make no mistake, this is not a wedding filled with joy and celebration. No, this is a wedding that has been forced upon Ellen, one that carries the weight of her family's survival on her shoulders, while at the same time threatening to destroy her heart forever. And the most thrilling part is that she is not alone in this battle anymore. Julia, who has already proven herself to be one of the bravest and most tragic characters in the series, steps in once again to help Ellen take control of her fate. The two women, who were strangers just an episode ago, now find themselves bound together by circumstance, secrets, and the simple yet powerful understanding that they are stronger together than apart. Their alliance is the kind of partnership that Outlander fans have always loved. Two women navigating a world ruled by men, using their intelligence, courage, and their ability to quietly strategize while everyone else underestimates them. But this is also where the real tension begins, because the trailer makes it clear that Ellen and Julia's plan will not go smoothly. In fact, we already know from the way Outlander has always been written that no love story can exist without tragedy, and no happy ending comes without sacrifice. Ellen, still being pushed toward marrying Malcolm Grant, is running out of time. Her brothers, Colum and Dougal, remain unyielding in their demands, reminding her that their clan's survival depends on her decision, and this adds an unbearable amount of pressure to her every move. You can almost feel the walls closing in on Ellen, who knows that saying yes to Malcolm will mean giving up on her true love for Brian forever, and yet saying no might put her entire family at risk, creating enemies who could destroy everything she has ever known. It's this impossible choice that makes Ellen's story so compelling, because while we root for her and Brian, we cannot ignore the stakes that come with defying her clan. Meanwhile, Julia finds herself caught in a different but equally heartbreaking situation. The trailer shows glimpses of her trying to navigate her new reality at Castle Leathers, where Lord Lovett continues to see her as his possession. She is forced to play her part carefully, knowing that one wrong step could put her unborn child in danger. And yet, even as she smiles through the pain, her heart remains tied to Henry. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that Henry is closer than ever, attending the very same wedding where Julia is meant to act as nothing more than a mistress to a powerful man. Imagine the devastation Henry must feel, seeing the woman he has searched for endlessly, standing right in front of him, but in the arms of someone else. The trailer teases this cruel twist, and if you ask me, this is where the show is at its best, when it forces us to feel the weight of impossible situations, when love and survival collide in the harshest way possible. And speaking of Henry, the trailer gives us brief but powerful moments that hint at his inner struggle. He is a man torn between loyalty to Clan Grant, who still expects him to enforce their harsh rule over tenants, and his devotion to Julia, who represents everything pure and hopeful in his otherwise war-torn life. Henry is trying to find a balance, but the truth is, the world around him does not allow for balance. The fact that he is about to come face-to-face with Julia in Episode 5 is a moment fans have been waiting for, but don't expect it to be a joyful reunion. No, this is Outlander, and reunions are always bittersweet, always shadowed by the reality that love does not come easy in this world. Their eye contact alone, as teased in the trailer, is enough to send chills down your spine, because it carries the weight of everything they've lost, everything they still hope for, and everything that stands in their way. Then there is Brian, who might just be the most underrated character in this entire prequel so far. The trailer suggests that his role in Episode 5 will be absolutely crucial. We know that Brian and Ellen are deeply in love, and we also know that he is willing to risk everything to be with her. But let's not forget, Brian is still a man living under the shadow of being a bastard, constantly reminded that he has little to offer beyond his heart. This makes his love for Ellen even more desperate and sincere, because he is not just fighting for her, he is fighting to prove that he is worthy of her. And when we see him at Beltaine, trying to pull off an impossible plan to steal Ellen away from her forced marriage, we already know it's not going to go smoothly. The tension of watching him try, knowing the risks, is exactly the kind of suspense that will keep us glued to the screen. Finally, what makes this trailer so thrilling is the way it ties all these storylines together into one explosive event: the wedding at Beltaine. Weddings in Outlander have never been simple affairs, and this one is no different. It is a collision point, where Ellen, Julia, Henry, Brian, and the Grants all gather under one roof, each carrying their own secrets, desires, and plans. And when secrets collide with public vows, you can bet disaster is inevitable. The trailer is smart enough not to give away too much, but the glimpses we do get are enough to make it clear that nothing will ever be the same after this episode. Love will be tested, families will be divided, and the fragile alliances that hold these characters together will be shaken to their core. And that's just the first layer of what Episode 5 has in store. The trailer might only be a few seconds long, but it's packed with hidden details, emotional beats, and hints at betrayals that will shape the rest of the season. It leaves us asking the question Outlander has always thrived on. How far are you willing to go for love, and what are you willing to sacrifice for family? Episode 5 promises to give us answers, but not before breaking our hearts all over again. When we look deeper into the Blood of My Blood Episode 5 trailer, one of the strongest themes that stands out is secrecy. Nearly every character is hiding something, whether it's Ellen disguising her love for Brian under the weight of family expectations, Julia quietly scheming behind Lord Lovett's back, or Henry suppressing his emotions as he searches for his wife in the most dangerous of places. This constant presence of hidden truths is what gives the upcoming episode its edge, because we know that secrets can only stay buried for so long. The trailer teases moments where whispers in dark corridors, stolen glances across crowded halls, and secret promises exchanged under the cover of night all collide into something explosive at Beltaine. And the brilliance of this writing is that it doesn't just set up one reveal, it sets up multiple reveals happening all at once, creating the perfect storm where no one leaves unscathed. For Ellen, the secrecy is unbearable. Episode 4 already gave us a glimpse of her despair when she confided in Julia that her marriage to Malcolm Grant would mean losing everything she truly wanted. In Episode 5, the trailer suggests this conflict is going to boil over. You can feel her desperation in every frame. The way her eyes dart nervously, the way her body language shifts between resignation and rebellion. It's the classic Outlander setup. A woman forced into an impossible role by her family's demands, yet determined to fight for her own destiny. And the most powerful part is that Ellen is no longer alone in this struggle. Julia has become her confidant, her secret ally, and together they form a bond that feels as unbreakable as it is dangerous. When women in Outlander come together, the story always rises to its most emotional and powerful heights, and this alliance between Ellen and Julia feels like the emotional heartbeat of the prequel so far. But of course, secrecy doesn't come without risk. The trailer hints that Ellen and Julia's plotting will not go unnoticed. Colum, who has already been portrayed as a sharp and calculating leader, seems to sense that something is amiss. And Dougal, ever the enforcer, looks ready to step in if Ellen dares to step out of line. This creates an atmosphere of suffocating tension, where Ellen's every move feels like it could be her last free choice. The stakes here are immense. If her family discovers her betrayal, she risks not only her own safety, but also Julia's, and possibly even Brian's. This is the kind of layered storytelling that keeps viewers hooked, because every character's action feels like it carries a ripple effect that could change the entire course of the season. Meanwhile, Julia herself is walking on the thinnest of tightropes. Her relationship with Lord Lovett has become both her shield and her prison. On the surface, she plays the role of his mistress, smiling when he calls her his English rose and pretending to be grateful for his attention. But beneath the surface, her mind is always working, always searching for a way back to Henry, and always looking for cracks in the walls that surround her. The trailer captures this duality beautifully. One moment Julia is standing by Lovett's side, her face calm and composed, and the next, she's slipping into the shadows to whisper plans with Ellen. It's this duplicity that makes her such a compelling character, because we know she is constantly sacrificing pieces of herself in order to protect her unborn child and to cling to the hope of reuniting with Henry. And then there's Henry, whose storyline is perhaps the most heartbreaking of all. The trailer doesn't give us much of him, but what it does show is devastating. You see the torment in his eyes as he realizes Julia is right there, so close, yet impossibly out of reach. The tragedy of Henry's character is that he has done everything right. He has fought for her, searched for her, and stayed loyal to her even when the world tried to tempt him away. And yet, in the cruelest twist of fate, when he finally comes within touching distance of Julia, she is bound to another man's household. This moment, teased so subtly in the trailer, is enough to shatter the hearts of fans who have been rooting for their reunion. Outlander has always excelled at playing with the tension of almost, giving us those fleeting moments of hope before pulling them away, and Henry and Julia's almost reunion at the wedding promises to be one of the most gut-wrenching examples yet. Brian's role in all this cannot be understated either. The trailer makes it clear that he will not stand idly by while Ellen is forced into a marriage she doesn't want. But what strikes me most about Brian is not just his bravery, it's his vulnerability. He knows he has no political power, no wealth, no position that could possibly protect Ellen from the consequences of rejecting Malcolm Grant. And yet he moves forward anyway, driven purely by love. That in itself is both beautiful and tragic. Because while we admire his courage, we also know that love alone may not be enough to overcome the brutal realities of clan politics in this world. His desperation to steal Ellen away from the wedding, as the trailer suggests, is both thrilling and terrifying, because you can't help but wonder if his actions will cause more harm than good. And this brings us to the wedding itself, which is clearly being set up as the centerpiece of Episode 5. Outlander fans know that weddings in this universe are never simple, and the Beltaine wedding looks to be one of the most dramatic yet. This is not just about vows and feasts, it's about politics, power, betrayal, and love colliding in one explosive event. The trailer shows glimpses of crowds gathering, of tense faces watching every move, and of emotions boiling beneath the surface. It feels like everyone is waiting for the first spark to set everything ablaze. Ellen, Julia, Henry, Brian, Malcolm Grant, and even Colum and Dougal, all of them will be present, and all of them have something at stake. This makes the wedding less of a celebration and more of a battlefield, where every word and every gesture could ignite a war. What makes this so thrilling is that the trailer refuses to tell us how it will all end. Instead, it gives us just enough to know that disaster is coming. You see Brian's determination, Ellen's hesitation, Julia's quiet courage, and Henry's heartbreak. But you don't see the outcome. And that's what makes this episode so exciting. The suspense lies not in whether chaos will happen, but in how far it will spread and who will be caught in the fallout. Outlander has always thrived on this kind of storytelling, where love and loyalty clash with duty and survival, and Episode 5 looks like it will deliver that formula in its most explosive form yet. And so, as we prepare for this monumental episode, the trailer leaves us with a single, haunting question. Who will pay the price for love at Beltaine? Because make no mistake, someone will. As we dive deeper into what Blood of My Blood Episode 5 promises, one thing becomes clear. This is not just an episode about love stories, it is an episode about consequences. Every single decision made up to this point is about to collide, and what makes it so fascinating is how every character's personal choice ripples out to affect the larger picture. Outlander has always thrived on showing us that nothing happens in isolation. Love is political, family is survival, and every act of rebellion has a cost. The trailer for episode 5 makes this painfully clear, reminding us that while Ellen, Julia, Brian, and Henry are all fighting for love, the world around them is not going to sit back quietly and let them succeed. Instead, the world will push back with the full force of tradition, power, and ruthless survival instincts. And that is where the suspense of this episode truly lives. Ellen's storyline is the most obvious example of this. On the surface, her refusal to marry Malcolm Grant looks like a simple matter of following her heart. But it is so much bigger than that. To Colum and Dougal, Ellen's marriage is not about romance, it is about securing the safety of their clan after years of financial and political instability. This means that if Ellen walks away from this marriage, she is not just disappointing her brothers, she is potentially endangering the lives of everyone connected to them. That's why the pressure is so intense, and why the trailer makes her appear trapped at every turn. She is literally standing at the crossroads between two futures, one where she surrenders herself to a loveless union for the sake of survival, and another where she risks everything for the possibility of happiness with Brian. It is this impossible choice that makes her arc so magnetic, because as viewers, we can't help but root for love while simultaneously fearing the consequences. Outlander has always excelled at putting its heroines in these impossible positions, and Ellen's wedding at Beltaine might be the most brutal example yet. Julia's storyline, however, runs parallel to Ellen's in a haunting way. Where Ellen's battle is between love and duty, Julia's is between love and survival. She cannot openly defy Lord Lovett without risking not only her own safety, but also the safety of her unborn child. And yet, in the trailer, we see flickers of her old self. The woman who once dreamed of a different life with Henry, the woman who refuses to let her spirit be broken by circumstance. The bond she has formed with Ellen is proof of this resilience. Julia is not just a victim of her time travel misfortune. She is a fighter who has learned how to play the game of deception. Every smile she gives Lovett, every polite word she utters, is a mask covering her true intentions. But as any Outlander fan knows, masks can only last so long before they begin to crack. The wedding setting is exactly the kind of environment where cracks are bound to show, because Julia cannot hide both her alliance with Ellen and her lingering love for Henry forever. The suspense lies in whether she can juggle these conflicting roles long enough to protect herself, her child, and the friend she has just made. Henry's presence at the wedding adds yet another layer of tension. The trailer teases what we have all been waiting for, his first eye contact with Julia since they were torn apart. That single moment is enough to send shockwaves through the story because it forces both of them to confront the painful reality of their situation. For Henry, this is the culmination of his endless search, the moment he finally sees proof that Julia is alive. But for Julia, it is the cruelest twist of fate. She is reunited with her husband not as his equal, not as his partner, but as another man's mistress. This contradiction is devastating, and the trailer makes it clear that the reunion will not bring resolution, but rather deepen the tragedy. Outlander has always loved to play with near misses and bittersweet encounters, and this moment between Henry and Julia promises to be one of the most gut-wrenching yet. Their love is undeniable, but the obstacles between them feel insurmountable, and that is exactly what makes their story so compelling.